I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Chuck Norris is Lone Wolf McQuade, a Texas lawman who keeps the peace his way.
Your record is unrivaled, but my kind of ranger is a model citizen, pillar in the community, goes to church, he lives clean, he's got a loving wife and kids. But your lone wolf attitude is gonna change.
Lone Wolf McQuade. Rated PG. Starts Friday at a theater near you. Check newspaper for time and...
Hey, this is Samantha once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another request via my PayPal from Fan of Eli, who wanted my thoughts on a couple Chuck Norris films, including Lone Wolf McQuade. And like I mentioned before in some other videos, I grew up with Chuck Norris. I enjoyed many of his movies, from Firewalker to Missing Action Films to, let's see, Silent Rage, The Hero and the Terror, among others. And like with those, this is one of the movies I watched quite a few times when I was a kid. Still enjoy it to this day. And I know this is a personal favorite for Chuck Norris. I believe this was the big inspiration. Just, from what I understand, he wanted to turn this into the Walker Texas Ranger TV show, but I guess he couldn't get the actual rights for the Lone Wolf McQuade name, so changed it to Walker. And then you have that TV show. But this, I like the, it's almost a Sergio Leone Western feel to it. Not so much the, well, some of the direction, especially in the ending, where you have the up-close looks of the face of Chuck Norris and David Carradine, and then the music. The music is Francesco De Masi. I really enjoy the score. In a way, it seems like as if he's trying to channel the score that you would hear in the Man with No Name trilogy. Maybe that's not a fair comparison, because it's not trying to rip it off. It has its own great feel to it. But I mean, from the beginning, I like the images of the wolf and this whistle type of music. Do 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 do. I can't whistle right now for some reason. And Chuck Norris plays Lone Wolf McQuade, a Texas Ranger. We get to see what he can do at the very beginning, where Robert Beltran, who I remember from the movie Night of the Comet, him and some others, their police officers, are caught by these horse thieves. And Chuck Norris, if you ever see memes where you have Chuck Norris with a sniper rifle, it's from this movie. And he snipes some people, he kicks some ass, shoots some ass, tits some ass, takes some names. And again, shows almost a superhuman level of badassery, where he could have a gun and just go, and now he move up and down, but you have people who are both up and down. He kills them all, and he just straight line. And it's like, hey, it's Chuck Norris. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. And he has a shitty home. He's got a wolf for a dog. He's got a quiet attitude. His daughter is actually played by Dana Kimmel, the lead lady from Friday the 13th 3D. A lot of times he's dirty. People say, oh, you need to have some style. You need to clean up. He likes to go home, drink his beer. He's got a supercharger at his Jeep vehicle. And pretty much he's doing his job, and one thing leads to another. His daughter and her boyfriend see some stuff going on. The boyfriend gets killed, and her car gets pushed off a cliff. She gets in the hospital. Chuck Norris going to find out who the hell did that. Gets some ass. Leonidas Kennedy, who is in the Penitentiary movies, he plays an FBI agent. I do wish his character was utilized more, because his character seemed like you could almost just take out the character. He doesn't get to accomplish a whole lot. He's not in the film a ton. And I liked him as an actor. I liked Leonidas Kennedy. I wish he was utilized more. It's definitely more Chuck Norris and then Robert Beltran, who becomes his new partner. And I thought they worked well together. You get some entertaining action sequences. What you find out is David Carradine is our villain. He's an arms dealer, likes to steal guns and of course sell them to the highest bidder. He's also a martial arts guy. He's doing this little, not really a tournament, but exhibition, and wants to get Chuck Norris to fight him. And I like that the movie teases that, because it, oh man, we're waiting for that fight. And it does at the end. And I know this isn't true, but it almost makes me go, like, Chuck Norris, this is what you get for stealing kung fu from Bruce Lee, motherfucker. And that's not true, though. That's not fair. Because for those who don't know, Bruce Lee came up with the idea for Kung Fu, the TV show. Then they gave it to David Carradine. And I like David Carradine. I think it would have been more interesting with Bruce Lee on that show. And I like David Carradine as an actor. He's not really much of a martial artist. I mean, he does fine in the action scene at the end with Chuck Norris. It's a pretty good fight. But, again, I don't really put David Carradine on the level of martial arts compared to a Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, Martha Costas, Jeff Speakman, Gary Daniels, Jeff Wincott, Cynthia Rothrock, that type. But I like him as an actor, and he does a good job as the villain. There is some funny stuff. Watch this again, I noticed. For example, one of the characters he meets, he's kind of a villain, but he's a guy that he's got to talk to try to get to David Carradine. It's this little guy, like this little, you're not supposed to say midget, but this little teeny guy, that he looks like a mini James Bond villain. I thought that was kind of a strange choice. You didn't really need him in the movie. I also find it funny that Chuck Norris, one of his buddies, dies. He doesn't show emotion. But when his wolf dies, he's like, well, he doesn't do that. He's like, I'm going, your buddy died, you had nothing. But if your wolf dies, maybe in retrospect, I can't blame him. I mean, I liked that wolf too. I didn't want to see that wolf die. So yeah, maybe I can't blame Chuck Norris on that front. So I take that back. But it was still pretty funny that his friend is killed and barely any reaction. But when the wolf dies, like, now it's on. Now they've gone too far. But you know what? Hey, I'll go with it. And unlike Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris is willing to get beaten up. And he gets buried alive. And his truck is such a badass, supercharged, he's able to drive out of the earth. Which is a pretty, over the top, but pretty damn fun scene. and shotgun someone on top of that. And meanwhile, Robert Beltran, he was very entertaining. I liked during that sequence, he's like, freeze assholes! Just the way he said that, and the way he delivered some of the other pieces of dialogue. This guy who's fucking with him earlier in the movie comes back later. You remember me? And he shoots the guy. He's like, yeah, I never forget an asshole. I really liked Robert Beltran. He was the guy. There was Catherine Mary Stewart, Kelly Maroney, and then there's I forget the character's name, but he was in Night of the Comet. He's been in other stuff too. Eating Raoul is another one he was in. He was on Star Trek, but I forget which show it was. But I mean, Leonidas Kennedy, Chuck Norris, and Robert Beltran, Dana Kimmel, Chuck Norris' daughter, gets kidnapped. They follow the trail, and they get in a big firefight. And again, I do wish they had utilized Leon Isaac Kennedy more as a character. Again, he just seemed a bit underutilized. But it's still a fun sequence. You get some gunfire. You get a point where Chuck Norris gets a fucking bulldozer and goes against David Carradine's armored truck. Again, there's some entertaining, fun bits of humor. Robert Beltran, I like that they kept up with him not being a pro, that he's still a bit of a rookie, so he throws a grenade and he forgot the pen. It's like, damn it, I knew I forgot something. But I thought it was played off genuinely funny. Also, you have the fight at the end. It's a really good fight. I'm not David Carradine, because I don't think he's that great of a martial artist. I'm just being honest. But for what he had to do in the fight, he did it well. I think, though, if you had someone... Granted, it'd be too soon. Van Damme was not in the scene, but could you imagine if Jean-Claude Van Damme, instead of Black Eagle, did this movie? Granted, with the promotion, they really built it up as Norris and Carradine, and that was their part of their marketing. They wouldn't really have any marketing with Van Damme, just like, who the hell's that? But I'm just saying, in retrospect, instead of doing Black Eagle with him and Sho Kosugi, I just imagine if Van Damme was the David Carradine role in this, and then they had a big fight at the end. That would have been pretty awesome. And they did work out together back in the day. There's footage of that, so that would have been pretty damn cool. In fact, Van Damme's listed in the credits of Missing in Action, which I think was a year or so after this. I don't know, I'm just dreaming. But with that said, despite the fact that I do wish, to repeat myself, Leon Isaac Kennedy was utilized a bit more. I like David Carradine. In retrospect, part of me wonders if maybe there could have been someone else, just as a physical martial arts attribute equal to Chuck Norris, because again, I like David Carradine as an actor. I just don't consider him as a martial arts equal to Chuck Norris. I mean, if everything worked out the best, if Bruce Lee was in this, and it was, hey, Return of the Dragon, now pay it forward. If Bruce Lee was still with us, and if Bruce Lee was the villain, and say, hey, come on, you killed me, now let me do this for you, that would have been pretty damn cool. That would have been pretty damn awesome. Who knows, maybe if someone does those deep fakes, those type of deep fakes or so, or someone who's really good at animation, maybe they do that. But with that said, great score, a lot of nice feel of the Western, Sergio Leone, when Carradine, Chuck Norris, they're squaring off, and the music almost has this organ and close up of Carradine and close up of Norris. It's a really good build up and is a fairly well fight scene. And Chuck Norris did some nice hits and jump kicks and swift movements. Like I said, the action scenes work, the score works. I forgot who directed this, and I should have looked it up before I did this, but the director did a pretty damn decent job. Again, I know, well, I would guess he was trying to go for that Western Sergio Leone, a little bit of feel to that. Even the end credits, I know that sounds stupid, but ever since I was a kid, I remember the end credits were images from the movie where people would move a little bit and then freeze frame. And I don't know, just that and the music. And it does have a good poster too. It has a really cool poster. Steve Carver. I know that name sounds familiar, Steve Carver. That. An Eye for an Eye, that's right, with Chuck Norris. That's a good one. He also did River of Death, which I wasn't really a fan of, with Michael Dudikoff. Big Bad Mama. Don't recognize the other movies. This apparently John Milius contributed some ideas to it. Well, there you go. Carver was a fan of director Sergio Leone and had met him. He decided to make the film in the style of Leone. Okay, there you go. The film was turned down by every studio, including Orion. He says Orion only agreed to finance the film because another project fell over. Man, that's crazy. The film was originally rated R, but Chuck Norris appealed the decision to MPA and succeeded in getting the film rated PG. Which, yeah, I agree with that rating. There's really nothing in this film that would be R-rated material, so yeah, I think PG is a much better fit of a rating. I mean, nowadays it'd probably be PG-13, but yeah, there's nothing R-rated about the movie because there's no cursing, there's not really any blood I can think of. But it does work. It works for what it's supposed to do. A fun Chuck Norris's take on a modern Western. Good support with Robert Beltran, Leonidas Kennedy. And David Carradine does a good job acting-wise. In physical martial arts-wise, these other people would have picked, but acting-wise, for what he's supposed to do, he did a nice job. Again, the composer, I don't know if he ever did another American movie. I looked at his filmography. I didn't recognize any of the other ones. But really good job on the score. And a lot of nice images. I think it gave that old school Western feel. Like when he's hurt and he's training, trying to get better and stronger, shooting at the targets. Him gearing up for the battle. And the confrontation at the end. That's pretty classic stuff. And sadly, you don't see that stuff nowadays. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care. We will see you in the next video. Later.